Okay, so we're here on 2.8, number 8, and we're continuing on factoring. And when we're talking about factoring, we have like different levels, right? Some of you are still using algebra tiles, which is good. Some of you have kind of like let go of algebra tiles and you're using this diamond or X and the box, which I like to call X box, right? But it's really kind of like a puzzle. So we're just going to continue and see what stuff makes sense, and then make sure that you are ready for your next test, which I think is next week. Okay, so as she's working on orders, one of the employees, Anushka, stops and says, hey, wait, I noticed the problem number 5, that if I multiply coefficients of the first and the last term, I get 6. And that's what you guys recognized here. I don't remember, where is it? Let me make my thing a little smaller and I can see better. Yeah, here it is. So we looked at 10 and 3, 30 and 1, 15 and 2, and you guys all said, oh, those are all multiples of 30. And then we looked at this here and I said, okay, well, where do you see a 30? And they said, oh, it's 2 times 15. So here we're going with what times what gives me negative 30x squared, because we're doing the first and the last term. And then what adds to x, okay? And then the middle term becomes the factors of 6 that add up to 7. So the two factors I got were 6 and 1. On problem 6, when I multiply 2 and 15, I get 30. And the middle term from the factors of 30, which add up to negative 13, are negative 10 and negative 3. So does this problem work for problem 7? And the answer is yes. And now you know a pattern. So what's a way better of knowing a pattern is I don't need to like rearrange. Remember, we were rearranging these 15 little guys over and over again to figure out which, what factors those were, because then that would help us figure out what numbers go here, which would help us figure out the length and the width of your rectangle, right? Do you guys all see my rectangle that I never drew in? Okay, so then it says number 9. If you think about the pattern Anushka noticed, we'll help try to rewrite this in factor form. If you don't think it works, use whatever is working for you. Okay, so right now I'm going to have you pause. I want you to factor this usually using Anushka's pattern. And I'm going to start you off by making you, I'm going to go on this right side because then it's like right there. So the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to fill out, 1 second. There it goes. I want you to fill out this diamond here. Let's see, is this gonna catch up to me? So I put a little X here, and I want you to fill out what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom. Let me grab my chat so that I can keep track of all the lovely things that you all are doing here. Okay. So what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom? According to this one right here, what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom? Very good. So the top is A times C. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are doing really well. So I'm going to take A and C, and I'm going to multiply those together. 2x squared times negative 5. And I'm going to take the whole thing, the whole 2x squared, so that you guys all remember that we're just rearranging things. We're not like, there's no magic here. Okay. And then this guy goes on the bottom. So if I was to write this all out, this is A times C, and this guy's B. Okay. Oh no, there's an error that my thing is having, and it was having this earlier. Okay, so it's going to continue to think, and this says negative 10x squared, and this says 9x. So I'm not going to rely on that. I'm just going to type a 9x here. So 9x, make that look more mathy. Maybe? Oh no, it says it's gonna do it. Let's see. Oh no, it doesn't. There it goes. Okay, good. I just need to be more patient. Okay, so then now I want you to, okay. So before we fill out what goes here, I know some of you already know the answer to go here and here. And before moving on, I want you to draw a box and fill in the box as well. Now the box is the same that we've been filling out from before. So what goes in this first box here? Yep, 2x squared. Very good. Very good. So 2x squared goes up at the top. So this goes at the top. This is my box. And what goes on the bottom? What goes right here? Right here? Yeah, -5. Very good. Okay. So if you didn't know that, no problem. No problem. Just make sure that you now know it. I would draw a bunch of arrows just so that you guys can see it. Actually, I'll highlight. Let's see. 2x squared is 2x squared, which is 2x squared. 9x, which is 9x, and then this guy is -5. There you go. So there you go. This is how I wrote everything. This is where everything goes. And then I multiplied those to get this guy. So now comes in the time that you're filling stuff in. So the question that we want to ask ourselves over and over again is this guy here. So I'm going to copy him. So we're going to put him up here so you guys can all see. So it's going to be what times what gives me -10. And then what plus what gives me my 9. Okay, so I'm going to pause right here. I want you to fill all of this out. I'm going to be looking at your work, and then we'll come back together in just a little bit to check our answers. Okay. Okay, so you all had the chance to like work on this a little bit. So it says what times what gives me -10. So one of the things that some of our students do is that they come up with all of the numbers, factors of 10. So 1 and 10, 2 and 5. There's no other factors besides 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Okay, so then that helps you answer this question. What times what gives you -10 and when you add it gives you 9. So someone says, Ms. Johnson, it's 10 and -1. So 10x and -1x. Okay, let's, just for the sake of understanding and making sure we're all on the same page, just check your answer right here, because then you won't have, you most likely the rest of this is going to be right. So 10x times -x is -10x squared. That's true. And 10x plus -1x does give you 9x. Okay, so these two numbers here are going to be these two numbers here. So wait, what? These two numbers here, this number here and this number here are going to go here and here. So you just want me to copy them, Ms. Johnson? Yes, copy them. So 10x and -1x. You can barely see that, so I'm just going to outline that. Okay. Okay, and it doesn't matter which way it goes, I promise you. Anybody remember what the next question is? What's the next question that I ask? What do you do next? What's the next question that I ask? Let me roll back here. It's when I do this. So it's when I do this part right here, when I circle this. And I say, what's the question that I ask you here? And I circle these two things. Anybody remember? So I'm going to circle those two things just so we can kind of understand what we're doing next. So I ask you, after I circle these two, I say, what's the biggest thing I could take out of these two things? What's the biggest thing that I could take out of those two things? Does that make sense? Okay. So what is the biggest two things? What do you see in both of those, here and here? Well, someone would first say, well, I can't take a number out because 2 and 1 would just be a 1. And then I say, oh, okay, well, what do you see in both? And someone says, oh, X, Miss Johnson. Exactly. And so the rest of this is playing who's missing. Okay, so X could be taken out of both of those. See, there's an X right there. There's an X right there. I could take it out. Now, someone would say, Miss Johnson, how come you can't take an X squared out? Well, do you see an X squared here? And someone says, yeah, I see an X squared there. Okay, do you see an X squared here? And someone's like, no, then we can't take it out. We can't take an X squared out of both because I can only take it out of this one. That makes sense? Okay, let's continue. So X times what gives me 2X squared? X times what gives me 2X squared? Very good. X times 2X. Very good. X times 2X. Very good. Oops, I'm in eraser mode. Let me do that again. Very good. X times 2X, right? So then do it again. X times what gives me negative 1X? X times what gives me negative 1X? Very good. Minus 1. And if you can imagine these as tiles, you'll see the 2X minus 1 here, right? Very good. Got more people participating. Thank you for participating. It helps a ton. I can't explain. Very good. Okay. So then the last little piece that I need to fill in is this. So 2X times what gives me 10X? 2X times what? Yeah, just 5. Very, very good. So then now this should be making just a little bit more sense. And I'm going to say, if it still feels very new, that's right. It's supposed to still feel very new. Okay, so if you look, here's my two factors, 2X minus 1 and X plus 5. I'll put a little plus in between there. All right, sometimes I actually like putting the plus here, not here. I like putting the plus in front. Okay, and then, so then now I can rewrite it. So I can rewrite 2X squared plus 9X minus 5 is equal to, let's see, 2X minus 1 and X plus 5. Okay, so then it says, see if you can use that pattern. We use that pattern, right? So if you're still using algebra tiles, there's no shame in that. If you're still rearranging them, that's fine. This is just the next step of understanding. Okay. Let's continue. It says there's one more twist of the kind of blocks that Optima gets. These are the trickiest of all because they may have more than one X in the length of both sides of the rectangle. Here's an example. Complete the diagram using the sides that are given and write the two expressions for the area. Okay. So I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to continue letting you guys try this. So right now, fill in this rectangle right here and fill in this, the factored form and the standard form. By the way, if you're confused on which is which, this is called factored form. And this is called standard form. Now, factored form and standard form each have their own advantages. One's not better than the other. When I'm graphing, sometimes I like factored form better. When I'm doing other things, I like standard form better. So right now you're going to fill in this box and then fill this in, and then we'll check back right now. Okay, so so you should have been filling this part out, and let's look at what you got. So actually I looked at some of your answers and then I liked what I saw. So I do definitely see a 2X. Make sure you put a squared here. Let's look at this person's. They said 2X times 2X, Ms. Johnson, is 4X squared. Exactly. 2X times 3 is definitely 6X, and 2X times 1 is 2X. Good job. This person's still working, so we'll wait for them a little bit longer. This looks good too. They have the same thing as that person, except for just a 3. And then this person looks done. So 4x squared, I agree. 6x good, 2x good, 3. Factored form, 2x plus 3, 2x plus 1, perfect. And then they just added all these terms together, 4x squared plus 8x plus 3, perfect. Okay, I definitely suggest that you check your answers at many points as you can. Okay, good job on that. So there was the answer. I got another person with the same answer. They just didn't fill in the 3 here because they knew, no problem. This person's still filling out the rest here. Make sure you get 2x. This person, 2x times 2x is 4x squared, right? Because 2 times 2 is 4. So make sure that you get a 4 in there. So that is right. This looks good too. Very good. Look at how neat this is. Lovely and lovely. Perfect. Okay. So we'll move on to the next little problem. So now it says, right, Anushka has partially completed the, oh, that's all I wanted to share. Hold on.